Oh, look at this. Hello and good day. It gets all changed when the Jana Marie does her show on the weekend, and I need to be smarter and check to make sure everything's working before we get here. And I didn't, but now it is.
Oh, look at this.
Uh-oh.
Hello and good day.
Oh, it's my iPhone talking to me. Irresponsible. Totally irresponsible. Oh, so many things to discuss. Weird weather here on the East Coast. Gloomy, cloudy, gonna rain all day. Hey, it's part of the fun of living an interesting life. So many things to discuss. Where do you begin? Boy, big AI weekend. Lots of news about AI. In the regular news, people don't like it. Even though it's the future of art, of chess, of education, of law enforcement, of shopping, of driving. Is all AI, and it's here to stay, and there's no escaping it. So to be a Luddite and to say, oh no, I'll never do anything with any kind of AI is just ridiculous, because AI is everywhere. And it's coming for you. So last Friday, hey, it's Donna. Big Nebraska fan, Donna. She sent us a picture proving she loves Nebraska. No, it's true. Donna is an Iowa girl, an Iowa football fan. We respect. But she grew up and had friends, family who liked Nebraska, so she's respectful. She teases a lot, but it's all good. It's all fun. So on Friday, I completely forgot that October 15, which is the next day, Saturday, was our Midwestern friends. Yeah. All kinds of friends. All friends, yes. Friends everywhere. And the 15th was Saturday, which is Jana Marie's show. And she had a wild show on Saturday and Sunday. Lots of makeup, lots of scariness. On Saturday, she had terrifying cobwebs and lines over her face. It is Halloween month. And Sunday, she was a Frankenstein, the monster, green face. Actually, that's her right here. If you go to our Discord server, you can click on that, and that is Jana Marie's ugly, beautiful Frankenstein face that I made into her avatar. I hope she knows. She does now. But it's the 1-year anniversary on October 15th of this show. Hey, the live stream started 1 year ago. It seems like forever, it seems like nothing. Which I guess is how time and space and memory works. Started on an iMac. Quickly learned it could not really handle live streaming. It was not that very old as a machine. But if you want to stream reliably on the internet, you got to get a Windows machine. And I made the mistake of getting a great Windows machine and having Windows 11 installed on it. I should have just gone with the standard. Everybody was using Windows 10, but I try to be a technologist. I try to go along with people. Hey, let's go with Windows 11. Disaster, couldn't get the audio to work. The video was better. Streaming software was better. So we have come a long, long way streaming for 1 year. And here's my celebration of our 1 year streaming, this beautiful balloon that Jana Marie found for us, for her class. And it comes with, this balloon comes with the holiday colors inside. It could be Thanksgiving. It could just be fall. It could just be Halloween. Anything going on in October, November, this balloon will suffice. So I wish I had it right here with me, but you can see my lights reflecting in it, which is weird because I only have 2, but we're seeing 4. Very interesting. Some kind of dynamic that I'm missing. And here I see some kind of hideous skull, and I know what that is. That's coming up later. Ooh, I can put my finger on it. Oh, controlling the skull in the balloon. There's a skull in the balloon. Can you see the skull in the balloon? Oh, that is frightening. I like it though. And if I press on it, I can make it go away a little bit. I can change the skull. Oh, ho, ho. So there you go. Hey, welcome to the show. I wish this could just sit here with me, but I guess I'd look silly holding it. So, a whole year streaming. Learned a lot, much better. Things change. Hikaru Nakamura, who was really my inspiration for trying to do a live stream, talked about his inspirations for doing a live stream. I believe he said it was XQC, who was very successful as a streamer on Twitch, making $8, $9, $12 million a year XQC makes for being a streamer. They say, how is it possible? Well, you talk to the guy. He plays all kinds of games. He streams for 19 hours in a row, almost every day. So that is dedication to purpose, and that's how you grow a channel and how you grow a stream. I can barely do 2 hours a day, and I'm tired. I have to go take a nap because I'm old. XQC is young, and he has a lot of fun on his show. So Hikaru's a little bit older, 30, 35, I think. He is a grandmaster at chess, does a wonderful live show on Twitch, teaching chess, playing chess, helping people understand chess at a very high level. And he said that when he started streaming, it took him about 1.5 to 2 years before he made any sort of money streaming, income. And that's Hikaru Nakamura, who is an internationally known chess grandmaster, and he was one of the first people to stream chess on the internet as an entertainment. So for Hikaru to take 2 years to make a little bit of money, who are we? And there's another streamer who's very lovely called Buddha on Twitch. And he's, I guess Twitch is changing their payouts. If you make more than $100,000 a year in payments from Twitch, they are lowering your royalty from a 70-30% split. 70 for the streamer, 30 for Twitch. If you make $100,000, they're lowering your payout to 50-50. And I guess a lot of the top level streamers are very upset about that because that's going to cost them a lot of money. 20% of their money is going to be gone that they have been making all of these years. And Buddha said he's been streaming, I think he said, for 11 years. And he said it took him of streaming every day, and he streams 6, 7, 8 hours a day. I stream too. 5 to 6 years of streaming every day, 8 hours a day, before he started making any real money. And now I think he has 10,000 subscribers a month. He gets half of that money, which is $2.50, which is $25,000 a month. That's pretty good. Streaming for 11 years, but he had to, put his head down and work for 5 to 6 years. So that is the difficulty of it, is trying to figure out exactly what's going on where, how, and why. But we persevere, we come up with new ideas, we try new things, we see what happens. And sometimes things go well, and sometimes things don't go well. And we've had a lot of technical difficulties on this stream. You've been here and you've been through it with us. And now I'm just looking at seeing where I am on YouTube, because we've had some lag with YouTube. So let's turn it down to us. And now I'm just looking at hey, it's not bad. YouTube used to be last week for a couple of days, 2 to 3 minutes behind this live stream. So, if you are having people interact with you on your live stream in real time, and there's about a 3-second delay between what I say and what appears in chat when people type in chat. But if you're on YouTube and you're 2 to 3 minutes behind what I'm saying, you're going to be commenting on things that were 2 or 3 minutes ago, which in this show is like a lifetime. But it appears to be fixed. And on Saturday, we were live streaming on Twitter. Sunday, our show did not stream to Twitter, but I just checked, and it looks like we're on Twitter, back. I have no idea what happens. These are all technical weird things that go on. There we are. Looking good, pretty, looks kind of high definition. So that's delightful and interesting that we're there watching ourselves stream. So over the weekend, talking about Husker football, Iowa football, Nebraska and Iowa will play each other later this year. But on Saturday night, Nebraska played Purdue. And Purdue's a good team. I love Purdue University. And I'm being silly when I say this, but they're a bunch of math nerds, engineers, and they look like it in the stands. And they have a very good football team usually because they're all super duper smart, and they're at Purdue to get a top-notch mathematical education. You can't say that of all the schools in the Big Ten. Some are just football schools. You go there, you take classes, you go home, get a degree, go on to the NFL. And there are others, I will say, like, just thinking about it, Northwestern, Purdue, maybe a couple of others, not the University of Nebraska, where education is first and foremost. You go to those universities, Northwestern and Purdue, because you're super smart, and then you just happen to play football. Whereas in some of the other schools, it's the other way around. You're really good at football, and you just happen to be a student athlete. So when Purdue comes and smacks you around, pushes you around, it's a hard thing to take as a Husker fan. Because you wonder, where will it end and why did it ever begin? Oh, and I forgot to show you here. This is our live stream I was showing you before. Here we are. It says 0 viewers as it's playing, and then when it's all over, you see how many viewers you actually had. So it looks pathetic, and maybe it is, but maybe it's not, but maybe it is, but maybe it's not. But it's always fun to watch yourself and interact with yourself, poke yourself in the eye or something. Meh. There, poke yourself in the eye, pick your own nose, pull your tongue out. Harassing yourself. It's the new part-time. The new part-time job. So as we endeavor to find new pathways for success for the football team, it was a little bit of a humiliating defeat because Nebraska lost to Purdue. And everybody thought they would because that's what the line was if you're a gambler. And they beat the spread. They were supposed to be beat by 14. They were beat by 7. It doesn't make any difference. A loss is a loss. Pain is pain. So will Nebraska pick itself up, dust itself off, and start all over again? I don't know. We always hope. It looks like next week, this week, I guess, is a bye week, and which is good because that gives 2 weeks to prep. And the 29th is against the Fighting Illini. That would be people say, oh, that's a game they'll win. I'm not so sure. Illinois is a very, very good team. And unlike Nebraska, they have a really excellent coach who has been there for a little while. We have a better coach now in Mickey Joseph, but he hasn't been at Nebraska very long as a coach. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. We're always hopeful, trying to do the right thing, trying to find our way in the world. Now, there's another fun thing to discuss, what I call closing a perfect circle. And one of my old mentors, Howard Stein, Columbia University in the city of New York, would talk about circles. And everything is a circle. And you begin a circle and you end a circle. A beginning and an end. That's what a circle has. And as he was finishing his life, I'll say, knowing that he was dying of heart disease, he was 91, I believe, when he finished, he was going through his memory, his life, and connecting with people for a final time, I guess to say goodbye, and to close a circle with them. Some people just might call it closure, but for Howard, it was finishing the circle. Finishing the hat. Putting an exclamation point at the end of a life. Dotting your I's, crossing your T's. That's what Howard felt it was. Completing a circle. Now, completing a perfect circle is something always joyous, as is completing any circle, because completing something, starting, finishing, success. But some circles are more perfect than others for many reasons, and they don't always have to be negative, and they don't have to be at the end of a life. Young people can begin and end their own circle as a wonderful, positive thing. And today, we had the closing of a perfect circle. My lovely wife, Jana, has been a teacher of American Sign Language for many, many years in New York City. And for several of those years, she has been teaching at New York University, NYU for short. And one of her star students, and some students are just superstars. They sit down, they've never learned language before, and they just innately have it within them. And one of her star students, during the pandemic, where we were all locked at home, decided he was going to take advantage of that special time and practice his advanced signing so he could become an interpreter. And so Jana was his private tutor. He was finished with his formal work at NYU. And he studied with her for a good amount of time, at least a year, I believe, of weekly 2-hour grueling tutoring sessions. And Mark then went on to a formal interpreting program at LaGuardia Community College in New York, which has an interpreting program. And Jana wrote him a wonderful letter of recommendation because you need to go to, finish somewhere, get certified, get a degree, so people know that you are an excellent interpreter who's been vetted and verified by other people. And Mark is at NYU, I believe he was a film actor, performer. And he knew that was, a tough business to be in. Had very supporting, very loving parents, wonderful family. So he said, look, if I'm, not able to direct every day or make a movie every day or act every day, I want to be able to do something else, give back to society, earn a little bit of money. So I'll be an interpreter. And there are a lot of performers in New York who are interpreters because you can kind of pick your own hours. If you have an audition to go to, if you're in a show, you can work or not work as an interpreter. It's really the terrific way to earn money and to close and open new circles. Some people, work as waiters and waitresses because they can kind of pick their own hours and go in and work and then leave. So interpreting is the same thing at a different level. So Jana stayed in touch with Mark, did an internship, I think, with Mark, or maybe it was part of the private tutoring where she, visited him and helped and went to Lexington school together. It was very in-depth training. And then, Mark is doing his life and he graduated NYU, graduated from LaGuardia, is out, working as an interpreter. And then this morning, the perfect circle was closed and created. The circle was closed, the perfect circle was created. And Jana was doing a big, important presentation today at her job, working for the state of New York, where her job is to find jobs for disabled people. It's a wonderful gift to be able to have that kind of job. And her interpreter for the day was Mark. So there's Mark and Jana, and she didn't know that Mark was going to be her interpreter. Usually you get an email back from the interpreting agency saying, hey, this is your interpreter. But I guess they hadn't been able to find someone, or it was a last minute thing, so there was no email sent. And I guess Mark saw the job was offered and no one had taken it. And he saw it was Jana's name. So he grabbed it. So Jana's all nervous today. I have this presentation, go to work. Is the interpreter. There's Jana Marie. Oh, and we're talking about the baby. Hi, honey. And so she's ready to do her presentation. And there's Mark. The person she trained. Completing the perfect circle. The student interpreter becomes the interpreter. The teacher becomes the one receiving the services. It's a perfect circle from two different angles, two different ways of beginning. One circle completes another circle. And you have two intertwined circles, a circle within a circle, concentric circles. And I just love this photograph. And that's Mark. And Jana gave him his signed name, Mark, for his beautiful, fluffy eyebrows. And what a moment. You're nervous, you want to do a presentation. Oh, it's Mark. The day is saved. Everything is right with the world. So sometimes things work out in really, really wonderful, magnificent ways that you can't predict. You think it's going to go this way, but it goes this way. So Mark and Jana, back together again. It's just wonderful. Look out, world. They're on their way. And now it's time to take our first break of the day. And I'm looking at all the wonderful things we have to discuss today. So I think next, when I get right back, we're going to talk about the best vampire cities in America. I don't even know what this means. This popped up in my inbox right before we went on the air. And I said, well, okay, then this we have to do. This is a story that cannot be missed. And then I'll give you a little sneak peek here of what's coming up later. Remember the king that you saw ghosting in my bubbly balloon? Here he is. You're going to meet him very soon. Coming up here on Boles TV. Returning in a moment. And hey, we're back from break. Right there. Janice Sweeney teaches American Sign Language, hardcoreasl.com. Get in touch. You want to be Mark? You want to be the new Mark? There's a circle for you right there. Circle. Jana Marie Sweetheart, teaching American Sign Language. You too can be a world-famous interpreter working in the city of New York. So this is Boles.tv, live with you Monday through Friday, noon Eastern. And I hope and expect and demand that Jana Marie, on her Saturday show, will tell the story, the love story really, of learning and education and thoughtfulness and culture and all of that mixed into Mark for her show on Saturday. Because it's very interesting. And it would be a very interesting topic for people who are interested in becoming an interpreter, for deaf people who wonder how interpreters are trained, for people interested in becoming an interpreter, and maybe even invite Mark so he can comment on his experience. Now that's a show. Oh, that would be very cool. Will it happen? Who knows? We're opening a circle. We hope it gets closed. We'll see. There is always hope. Never give up. So when you do a show, people sometimes send you weird things in the mail. And today was no different. And this is hilarious. This is from, you can't see the very top, but it's from Lawn Love. It looks like it's some kind of lawn care landscaping thing, right? And what are you going to do when you're lawn care? And it's, the middle of the winter. How do you get people to visit your website and find out about your services? A lot of lawn care places also do like snow shoveling, snow removal. But, if you're not in a place where you have snow, it's not going to do much good. So this arrived in my inbox today. 2022's best and worst cities to be a vampire. And New York is number one in a lot of it, which is why I'm going to share it with you now. Here are the city rankings. And this was all perfectly formatted in email, but this is their website because it was New York specific. Overall rank first, New York, with an overall score of 55 as the best city for a vampire. Food and drink, ranking number 2. Layer safety, 18. Deterrence rank, 81. Entertainment rank 2. Second was Chicago. 3 is Philly. 4 is Los Angeles. Number 7, now this is very interesting, Omaha, Nebraska. Because our Jana Marie Sweetheart, who we know very well, was not born in Omaha, Nebraska. She was born across the river, as they say, in Council Bluffs, Iowa. And she is, Jana Marie Sweetheart, a holiday, a freakazoid. Any holiday that's coming up, she is involved, she celebrates, as you can see. Our holiday balloon, all kinds of balloons. One of the first things we did was on the show was she bought a giant inflated horror tree that was right behind me. And it was a tree that had pumpkins and owls and all kinds of craven things on it. It was delightful. I should find a picture of it. So she's deeply into anything that's fun, especially like vampires and Halloween, as you can see from her show this week on Saturday and Sunday that we're now on video on demand. Go to Boles.tv for more information, where she was a cobwebbed sort of evil ghoul on Saturday and Frankenstein on Sunday. So Omaha does not surprise me because I know people who live there or people who live across the river. Lincoln, Nebraska. That's where I'm from. 23rd. There are a lot of haunted houses. Haunted houses are kind of a big thing in the Midwest. Newark, New Jersey is 36. Hard to beat New York, though. Northern Nosferatus versus Southern Slayers. New York City is ideal for vampires, thanks to having the most potential victims. It also has the most slaughterhouses and vampire groups out of all of the cities in our ranking. It doesn't hurt that the subway runs 24/7, and eccentric styles are so common that vampires can easily blend right in. The goth look in New York City is a great way for a vampire to hide. Local tips. New York, in the 1870s, dozens of New York City vampires skipped the daily cup of joe and instead opted for a cup of blood from the nearest slaughterhouse. These days, vampires tend to grab a drink at Madame X and Death and Company in New York, according to Yelp. Talking about shadowy histories, Cannibal County country methodology. And these are the metrics for the rankings. Hilarious. I will put this lawn link in our links for the live stream. Too much fun for one person to have. Now, speaking of vampires, look at Putin and how the world is tilting authoritarianly, fascistly, Christo-fascistly. And we've talked about this many times, and every once in a while we get a article that confirms our bias, confirmation bias. Hey, that's what we are. That's what we're doing. Voters in Italy last month elected a nationalist leader whose party proposes a U-turn from the effects of globalization. In Brazil, right-wing President Jair Bolsonaro injected a doubt into the results of his re-election bid by speculating that the vote would be rigged against him, a conspiracy of the elites. Russian President Vladimir Putin, late last month, delivered an address that sounds familiar. Putin railed against expansive definitions of gender, calling the idea perversion, part of a complete denial of man and an overthrow of faith and traditional values. You see, they all have the same script, and they're all cheating with each other in order to get power, keep the power, and F the rest of the world. That's how they think. That's what they do. That is what they are doing. In these United States, former President Donald Trump has presumptively rejected future election results, and a majority of Republican candidates on the ballot this fall have joined him in repudiating the outcome of the 2020 presidential election. This we know. So we now have a similar quest for nationalist solutions in country after country, and a growing bond among the far-right autocrats in those places. For example, Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban and Italy's likely new Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni have spoken to acclaim at gatherings of the Conservative Action Committee, CPAC. So this is a trend towards authoritarianism. Biden versus Trump. After China's communist regime put down pro-democracy student protests in 1989, Trump praised the Beijing government, saying that shows you the power of strength. During his 2016 presidential campaign, Trump said he admired how Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein killed the terrorists. They didn't read them rights, he said. They were a terrorist. It was over. This year, at a rally in Georgia, Trump praised Chinese President Xi Jinping's control of his people. Hey, Trump said, he runs 1.5 billion people with an iron fist. Yeah, I think he's smart. Also this year, Trump called Putin's rationale for invading Ukraine genius, saying the Russian autocrat is a tough cookie. Got a lot of the great charm and a lot of pride. And he loves his country. And this is where it starts to get dangerous. I heard on the news today that Ron DeSantis is 5'8". Not that there's anything wrong with that. But you think by the way he behaves, he's this big monstrous giant when he's quite the opposite. More Republicans are adopting a kind of strongman rhetoric that seemed to play so well for Donald Trump. Ron DeSantis, Florida Gov, has turned the authoritarian label around to malign countries that have long been generally well regarded for good governance. DeSantis has declared Canada and Australia to be under the thumb of authoritarian rule because of their efforts to limit the spread of COVID-19. And he has proposed to create a state military force. Isn't that crazy? Not encumbered by the federal government. He wants his own private security force. As the president of Florida, I mean the governor of Florida. And he wants them to handle local emergencies as well as a state law enforcement agency in charging of protecting election integrity. Oh, it's just nasty stuff. They're coming for you, but does anybody care? What authoritarian regimes have in common is their roots. In what Moises' name, a former Venezuelan cabinet minister who is now a fellow at Carnegie Endowment for International Peace in Washington, calls the 3 Ps. This is their playbook: populism, polarization, and post-truth. Easy, right? 3 Ps. Populist leaders use divide and conquer to explain everything. Through identity politics, parties become like sports clubs, polarizing people into hard and fixed camps. And with the rise of social media, anything goes, and people don't know whom to believe, taking us into a post-truth era. Putin has been only too happy to encourage the insecurities that lead to support for displays of strength. A Monmouth University poll asked people what issues were most important as they considered their votes this fall, and 54% cited concerns about economy and costs of living. 38% they were most concerned about fundamental rights and democratic processes. Republicans overwhelmingly put the economy first, 71% of them. And Democrats put rights first at 67%. So populism by itself doesn't necessarily succeed or fail in resolving these kind of frustrations. The economic, cultural, and social dislocations of the past 20 years that plague much of the world. Populism can take the form of George Wallace's 1968 presidential campaign, with its overtly racist appeals to white voters. Or it can lead to reforms such as the direct election of senators and legalized marijuana use. Authoritarian governments generally take power on the wings of charismatic and powerful figures like Trump, Bolsonaro, Orban, Berlusconi in Italy. So you're a big personality, you're well known, and people follow you and they want to know you. These are the terrors that are surrounding us. So what are we going to do about it as a country? The U.S. is on the cusp of that kind of shift into authoritarianism. The question is, can Trumpism be sustained by a more effective leader, or does it follow the pattern of not easily translating to someone else? Now, that is very interesting because you have Tom Cotton, Josh Hawley, Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Ron DeSantis, all wanting to be the next Donald Trump. Can they take over that mantle of moral insolvency and turn it into a win for the White House? I think not. I think that when Trump is gone, finished, wherever he is, whatever he's doing, that Trumpism will die with him. Because those guys that I mentioned, they don't have the power, the charisma, the cunning, the viciousness that Donald Trump has. They're not superstars like Donald Trump. And he is a superstar. There's no doubt about it. There appear to be two main ways countries pull themselves out of an authoritarian spiral. In some cases, political leaders take a stand for democracy, as Franklin Roosevelt did in the face of pro-Nazi protests here in America that broke out in some part of the United States in the early years of Hitler's rule. In other instances, the resistance to authoritarian rule comes from below, from activists, unions, or political groups, as happened in East Germany, South Africa, and during the American Civil Rights Movement. Elections, independent judiciary, term limits, that is the magic sauce. That is the real power. We used to talk about that recipe for banana republics. But now, it also applies to the United States. And our next break is upon us. Coming up, we will talk about AI art. Interesting stuff going on. AI art and human compunction. There we go. Returning in a moment. And hey, we're back from break. I'm David Boles, and this is Boles.tv. It's BOLES, not television. Oh, it's BOLES.tv. And hey, over the weekend, we took our Boles.live domain name and Boles.stream domain name. They were previously pointing to Twitch only. Now they point to our new dedicated website, Boles.tv. So you can go to Boles.tv, or you can type in Boles.live if you've been using that for video on demand, or Boles.stream if you've been using that to find us on Twitch. And now they all take you to one place where they have all the links to everything that's ever going on ever. So now we're going to dig in a little bit to this topic of artificial intelligence. And as I've said, it is everywhere. And there is a trick and a talent to learning how to communicate, machine learning how to communicate as a human with a machine. If you're on the DALL-E website, which I recently found out is operated, owned by Elon Musk in some capacity, you have to learn how to speak to the computer in one way to prompt to get a response. If you're on Midjourney, using Discord to go through and create your AI artwork, you have a whole other new vocabulary and way of speaking that you have to learn if you want to get good results. And Friday, I had some results from Midjourney, very new to it. And now, today, Monday, I have 3 days of practicing with it, and I'm finally figuring out what's going on. And it's very interesting. But before we get to that, let's do this. Fascinating news. Artists say AI image generators, like DALL-E and Midjourney and others, are copying their style to make thousands of new images, and it's completely out of their control. Now, right away, I don't understand how any of this can really be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, because it can't be. What is fair use? What is borrowing? These AI engines are not taking an image and copying it. They're finding images to inspire machine manipulation of the image. OpenAI, a company founded by Elon Musk, that's DALL-E, just made DALL-E image generator open to the public. And we use DALL-E a lot. It's very interesting. Artists say they work for years on their portfolios, and people can now make copycat images in seconds. Writing myself a note. About what to try next in my AI art generator. Artists say they work for years, right, in seconds. Okay, not what's happening, but I understand how they might think that. But some AI companies argue the new artworks are unique and can be copyrighted. Greg Witowski is an artist with a distinctive style. He's known for creating fantasy scenes of dragons and epic battles that fantasy games like Dungeons and Dragons have used. Now, if you hear the hammer, 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 beat, 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 it sounds like a machine gun if you can hear it. But they're putting footings in a brand new building that's just outside our window. So if you hear the rattling, it's not the sound of my brain in my empty skull. Bertowski said it used to be really rare to see a similar style to mine on the internet. Yet if you search for his name on Twitter, you'll see plenty of images in his exact style that he didn't make. People are creating thousands of artworks that look like his. Now that's the key, that look like his using AI image generators. And sometimes you can tell the AI computer, hey, go find this image and make something out of it. But it's not a copy, it's an inspiration. There's a difference. AI image generators use artificial intelligence to create original artwork in minutes or even seconds after a user types in a few words as directions. Rutowski's name has been used to generate around 93,000 AI images on one image generator called Stable Diffusion, making him a far more popular search term than Picasso, Leonardo da Vinci, and Vincent van Gogh in the program. They're looking for a style. They're not looking to steal. It's different. And if you have a style that is easily identifiable, that a machine can then be inspired by and then manipulate into creating something similar, that's how art works. Artists, machines, people are influenced by what has come before. It's the nature of learning. A user simply types words in describing what they'd like to see, referred to as prompts, into a search bar. It's a bit like searching Google Images, except the results are brand new artwork. There you go, never seen before, created using text in the user's search term. So it is unique. It is viable. It is not something that has existed before. The machine created it. One of the most common prompts is to use the name of an artist to create something mimicking their style. People are pretending to be me. I'm very concerned about it. It seems unethical. They're not pretending to be you. They are pretending to be inspired by you. It's a difference. So there's an explosion of imitation. People are upset. There is AI data training. So that's one way that people are trying to stop people from using AI. When DALL-E is used as a tool that assists human creativity, we believe that images are copyrightable. DALL-E users have full rights to commercialize and distribute the images they create as long as they comply with our content policy. They added copyright laws, adapted new technology in the past, and will need to do the same with AI-generated content. Hey, I agree. Another article. Are AI-generated drawings real art? Canadian artists say they lack the human touch, which I don't understand. It's like saying, writers used to write on stone tablets with a chisel. Then they evolved to writing ink on paper, pencil on paper, then to a typewriter, then to a word processor. So is the word processor writer not a writer because they're not chiseling into a stone tablet? This is how societies and people evolve. Things change, the rules bend in other ways. So there was a painting that was created by Midjourney, and the guy who did the prompts won an award. And people were outraged that a computer was drawing better than humans. And that's okay. It's not a lesser sort of talent. All of these things take years of practice. It takes at least 7 years to learn how to draw. Now, who said that? I don't believe that for a second. And then you have the painting skills and design skills on top of that. And those are another 3 or 4 years. Learning how to make art from scratch takes at least 12 years. And at that point, you haven't mastered it. The idea being that you have to suffer for 12 years as an artist, and people who go on the internet and type in a prompt to get back an art image are not artists. That's a weird sort of double standard. I don't really understand it, but I'm very happy to have a conversation about it. AI can't generate real physical paintings and there's value in traditional art. Well, it can be, but there's also digital art that doesn't appear anywhere except on someone's iPad, what they draw. And people who are drawing on an iPad are not using oil, paint, canvas, paint brushes. Camera obscura is one of the first controversial things that was out in the 1600s. Adding that digital devices like drawing tablets were also in the heat of the debate when they came out in 1990. Well, you don't have to draw a straight line anymore. You just tell your tablet to draw a straight line from this point to this point. Done. You didn't draw it, did you? For the sake of ethics and to be professional, artists who generate images using AI, which build on and adapt pre-existing images made by other artists, need to attribute the original source and be transparent that their drawing is generated by AI. Not really. Now, I'm selling stuff on OpenSea that is AI-generated NFTs, and it's listed that way. To my mind, art is something more than the machine-generated image. It's an exercise of human creativity and human expression. I think it's important to recall that what the machine is doing is very different from what human artists and operators are doing. Not really, it's just a different sort of process. Artificial intelligence can create reference images extremely quickly for painters and artists. These images will have a consistent light source, color harmonies, and an awareness of things like reflections and bounced light. Audrey has used AI-generated images for one of her traditional oil painting works, in which she says the paint, canvas, and texture are something an AI couldn't mimic. Now, I know there are established AI artists who make a lot of money are using AI. Maybe they're using their own artwork as inspiration, but they're letting the machine do the work. And they're not shy about it, and they don't see anything wrong with it. Finally, hey, if you're a Dune fan and you're on Reddit, you'll be banned for your AI art because it's low effort. In the words of Frank Herbert's Dune, the Baudelairian jihad led to the destruction of thinking machines across the known universe and the birth of civilization that focused on enhancing human intellect. In the online community on the subreddit of R Dune, the birth of AI has led to similar, although smaller, war on technology. They have banned AI images applying to anything created by DALL-E, Midjourney, Starry AI, Wombo Dream, and others. Our team has been removing said content for a number of months, and on a post-by-post basis. I have to check one thing later. We acknowledge many of these pieces are neat to look at, and the technology sure is fascinating. But it does technically qualify as low-effort content, especially when compared to original human-made art, which we would like to prioritize going forward. That's a bunch of phony, stuck-up, misguided information. Just because something is made easier does not mean that it is more important or less important than the original. It's just different. Midjourney user Jason Allen said, I have created hundreds of images, and after many weeks of fine-tuning and curating my generations, I chose my top 3 and had them printed on canvas after upscaling with gigapixel AI. I set out to make a statement using Midjourney in a competitive manner, and wow. So it's very interesting, these people who are very offended by this artificial intelligence. Now I'm going to show you this. This is gigapixel AI, okay? Now, If you're a photographer, an artist, and let's say you're just a regular non-professional, an amateur, if you will, and you have, video images, iPhone images from 10 years ago. And at that time, they were high quality and neat. And now you look at them compared to the modern day phones, and they're old and noisy, and they don't look good. What do? You stuck with it? You live with it? Or do you go for something like Gigapixel? Exceptional AI image upscaler, delivering enhanced detail and resolution by 600%. Use deep learning to get better photo quality by enhancing detail. Join the hundreds of thousands of photographers and designers who use Gigapixel AI for better printing, cropping, restoration, and more. And this is what it looks like. See? Without AI, Gigapixel AI, with Gigapixel AI. Upscale image resolution instead of just enlarging pixels. This is all done with a machine. Here are some more examples. All right. This is, an original image, probably from an iPhone, another phone from 10 years ago. You blow it up, you make it bigger, you want to make a big picture to send to grandma. This is what it looks like. And then you bring a Gigapixel AI into the picture and say, hey, could you upscale this for me? And you have this result. Now, is that cheating? Is that low effort? I say it's very beautiful. Here's another example. Chalky, old image, fixed with artificial intelligence to something beautiful. Again, old, noisy artifacts. You run it through Gigapixel AI. You get a whole new look at the past. The past becomes better and in focus. Now that's amazing. That's technology you want to celebrate. Add image detail that looks completely natural. So here's the original. All right, this is the scenescape. Now, I looked at this a little earlier, and I didn't see much of a difference. So we'll look at it together now and see if we see anything. Do it slowly. Do things get more enhanced or less enhanced? I don't see that big of a difference in this one. Maybe I'm just not seeing it right. I guess if we look at this right here, this is kind of chalky and blurry, and that is more defined. That one's not as convincing to me. Now, one thing I've discovered in my young artificial intelligence life is AI doesn't do well with feathers. That's probably why they have this example here. So here's the original, where the feathers are very fuzzy and furry looking. And then Gigapixel AI gives some definition to the feathers, so they're not as blurry. I get it. That looks nice. Fur texture. Here's the original furry tiger and the AI resolution. Pretty cool. Big difference. Higher resolution landscapes. Okay, here's the original. And then you sweep AI over it, and it becomes better looking. Taking pictures in the city. We have a lot of photographs that look like this from the past. And you can try to fix them, enhance them, sharpen them, but you really need something that has AI machine learning behind you to fix it up. So it gives you a whole new image, a whole new memory, a whole new reflection. More landscapes as things become immediately clearer and better. Very nice. fix extreme pixelation with low resolution images. And sometimes that happened. The early days of the web, 1995, 94, 96, you couldn't have big images because the websites wouldn't load them fast enough. And if they were big file sizes, you didn't have storage space for it, and the browser would take too long to download it. So you would downscale the image from the original to something that was more portable, as they say, and easier, faster to load. We don't have instant internet like we do today. So you end up with images that, that are very small, that when you blow them up today to put back on the web, this is what they look like. I call it chalky. And you can fix that a bit with artificial intelligence. There's a bird face, fixed. See all this chalkiness, that's what the old web looked like when you blew it up. And now you can fix that to look like this. Very nice. Well done. And you can create better prints. You can increase dots per inch by increasing the image's real resolution. So it's hard to add DPI after the fact on an old photograph because DPI is DPI. But AI can fix that for you. Remove close-up compression artifacts. Here's the original. Doesn't look terrible. And here is the fix. The fix is in. Very nice. You can zoom and crop, enhance different patterns and fabric. Here's the original. Here's the fixed version. Some of it's subtle, but it's all right. It's all there. Natural texture that looks like it was never upscaled in the first place. There's the original. The bricks become very clear. The face is very clear. Here's a little blurry, a little fuzzy. Much crisper, much cleaner. And I have no stake in this gigapixel AI. I downloaded the free test, but I have not used it yet. Because I only read about it this morning when I was doing research for this bit of article. And you can add it to Photoshop and Lightroom, or it has a standalone app as well. It's $100 though, so it's a little expensive. Use deep learning to get better photo quality, includes all platforms. You get some live support, you get a 30-day refund, buy once, own it forever. You own the version you bought forever. You also get 1 year of new AI models and all major upgrades with your purchase, I guess for a year. It's better than renting, which is the new thing. Subscribing is what they call it. Because that just gets very busy, very expensive, and you never get out of it. Now it's time for our next break. And then we're going to come back. And I'm going to show you what I've been working on over the weekend. DB, AI art, and OpenSea. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting conversation when we shall return. And hey, we're back from break. I'm David Boles. This is Boles on TV. Hey, it's Boles on television. Hey, Jana Sweeney teaches American Sign Language, online hardcore ESL. If you missed my whole thing on Jana and Mark, where the teacher becomes the interpreter and the interpreter becomes the teacher and vice versa, creating the perfect circle. It's a story you need to rewatch. It started this stream, and it's a wonderful story between one of Jana's ASL students, Mark, who became an interpreter and interpreted for her officially today. And she didn't know it was going to be Mark interpreting for her. Fabulous. What can you say? So we've been talking about AI art. It's my new fascination, mixed with NFTs. And I'm now selling my NFT AI art on OpenSea. To the great consternation, I'm sure, of many of my NFT friends, who claim to create their own original artwork, but they do it all on a tablet or an iPad, which to me is the same thing that I'm doing. Because typing in a prompt, it takes a lot of work, because the machine doesn't always give you back what you expect to get back. So you have to keep revising it. And over the weekend, I was rearranging my collections on OpenSea. I don't advise you do the same thing. We'll get to that in a minute. Here's my OpenSea collection. Okay, this is my front page of OpenSea, and this is my OpenSea site if you want to go follow along. Okay, OpenSea.io/Boles TV. Now, here we go, right? AI art. This is my featured page, which I'll show you. Now, there's also, I've created about 80 NFT AI images that I think are appropriate for being sold on OpenSea. I have a lot of them, but not all of them are great. Which is right. That's how the world functions. You make choices. So these are 10 featured, right? Then you go to created. It says 39. Now I have many more than 39. But in trying to organize these collections, I moved some of my AI art from one collection to another. And they have now subsequently disappeared. I can't find them. And when you move an image from one collection to another, OpenSea says, hey, this is a process, and it's going to take like half an hour for everything to move over. Okay. 12 hours later, nothing had been moved. Terrifying. Where is all of my art that I created over the last 2 days? So I emailed OpenSea for help last night, 8 o'clock. They have not responded yet. So we're another 15 hours into it, with everything is still missing. So you click on this, David and Jana. This is where a lot of the AI art was originally put, and I wanted to move it to a whole new category, and in moving it to the new category, it all disappeared. So this is what we have, but none of it is any of the NFT stuff that I created. 0 items, I don't understand that, but 26 items, I don't understand that either. Then we go over here. Oh, you can't even see it, really. How do I get to my new collection? Oh, this is interesting. I can't even get over there. Oh my. I might have to make this bigger just momentarily. Meow. Now, what did that do to our thing here? Okay. It sort of looks better that way. A little bit bigger. Meow. So, hey, we'll click on this, right? This is where all of my 100 pieces of artwork are supposed to be seen. 88 items. 36 items. What does that mean? Where did it all go? Why is it not there? I'm hoping it's a simple refresh of my collection, which I can't find a way to do myself. Believe me, I've checked. So this is what it's looking like so far. So, okay. So this is AI art, this is AI art, collection of AI collaborations, meow, meow, all that, right? Okay, fine. So now we go to our next darling, and they've been updating this. This is Midjourney. This used to be a blue dot. I guess now it's supposed to be my profile picture, but it's not loading. So it looks really ugly. I don't know if it's because it's an animated image I have. Discord? But these are some of my latest accomplishments. This is from this morning. And the detail's really well done. So you type in a prompt, what you want the image to be, then you hit the enter button and the computer thinks for about 60 seconds and provides you 4 images. And of those 4 images, you can either, reject it and say, do it all over again. All of this costs you time and processing. Or you can do a variation on one image, or you can just upscale an image so you can see it better. Because it's very clever that of the 4 images that you're initially presented with, you really can't see it at all. Very, very tiny. And then you do this all through Discord. If you're on a paying plan, you can invite the Midjourney bot to your server, or you can interact with the AI bot in direct messages privately. Or you can just go to the Midjourney server and do it all in public. And that's what a lot of people do. So these are some of my creations from this morning that I think are just really interesting and fascinating. All of them are slightly different with slight variational changes, but they all sort of look the same. I really find the whole process absolutely astoundingly fascinating. What does it all mean? I don't know. I guess it means what we want it to mean. And this is all pretty much the same prompt, but different, as I say, roles, remixes, variations. And it begins like this. You get 4 images, and you pick the one you want to use. 4 images, pick the one you want to use. And I initially started talking about this as a skull. Now, I thought it would be holding a skull, not that the actual face would be a skull. So as we scroll down to these early iterations with the computer, you can see that there's no nose because the computer's trying to give me the skull as a face. So I went in there and said as a variation, I just deleted the word skull and replaced it with a couple of other just adjectives. So see, we're in skull area now. These are my Godzilla cats, Zilla cats, monster cats, half beast, half Persian cat. I think they're just beautiful. Delightfully odd. This is a very good monster cat. This is a later variation. This is one of the first variations. And you can kind of see the scales, right? And you can kind of see the fur. Is it real? I love this one too. Oh, there's Jenna Marie! The puffy cats. Yeah. Beautiful cats. Puffy cats. I love the glasses on this cat. Very cool. Is that monster-like? I guess so. I don't know. And this is another one with the fire in the eye. And here we go. These are the prompts. This one's a little more interesting than this one. As you step back through these images, just stepping back through time, these are the 4. Give me a monster cat, half monster, half cat. This is how it starts, and then you can re-roll and get a different one. And every time you do a re-roll, the computer just goes with a different randomizer and tries to give you what you're looking for. So I think this is the first one. These are all a little too cartoony for me. I would like them to be more photorealistic. And I believe I told the computer, look, these are, make them look more like a real cat and not like some kind of fantasy drawing. These are my Indians, my Old West Indians. And none of these people are real. These are all imagined, created through AI. Now, what I was trying to do on this one was trying to figure out how to get the computer to accept tintype. DALL-E accepts tintype as a photo style, as an artistic image style, beautifully. Glass negative, DALL-E interprets beautifully as an image style. Midjourney does not understand either of those terms, and I get back cartoon drawings. So it took me a long time of drilling down to try to get this look. Now, tintypes are black and white, but over time, because they're like from the 1880s, 1860s, over time they yellow and they become more like brownish and yellow instead of black and white. I don't like this frame around here. And if I were to re-roll these, I would tell the computer no frame. But the feathers are right, the hair's right, the beading is right, the aged face is right, all things I asked for. It's another version of the same prompt, but a different idea of what it might be. This one too, all very different, all very subtle. The eyes are very hard to get right on these AI creations. They either are blurred or missing. And these eyes on all of these are pretty true. They look real. Completely different look and feel. But still the assignment, as they say. And here's some earlier versions. Now, see, the problem with this one is interesting. The eyes are hidden. The headband is not really right because it's in color. So that would not be this sort of Old West photograph. The beading on the ear looks like it has a little bit of blue in it. So that's just not historically right. This, the feathers, remember the feathers in our gigapixel AI demonstration? Feathers are very fuzzy and unclear. Here are some earlier versions. This is a very early version. I didn't really understand what this was, so I had it blown up a little bit so I could get a look at the detail. And the headdress, the hair, wasn't right for the period. Again, here I blew this up to get a closer look and then re-rolled it. Here's another one with color, red. In a tintype, there's no red. This again, very early, blew it up so I could get a better look at it. The color is not right. These are the original results. You can see a lot of color. You can see these to me look more, instead of American Indian, which is what I was asking for, these look a little more Spanish. Originals again. Not what I was looking for, but at least I was getting the look. These do not look American Indian to me. And the frame. The frame is weird. This, I think, was the very first one I rolled. And these, again, these look like, Spanish images and not American images. So it's interesting. You type that in and see, how did the computer get that from what I typed? So then you just type a re-roll and you get something like this, and you get a little bit of a evolution. This was another favorite thing of mine. I'm looking for logos for this live stream. So I typed in television, microphone, lights, camera, action, old 1950s. And this light worked out of the box, if there is such a thing as a box, beautifully. This one is a little strange, but some of these others are really great. Some kind of computer robot, but I wanted an old-fashioned tube television. And that's what the computer gave me. A shadowy figure on television. Hey, hello, nice to meet you. The tube TV, a tube and a tube TV with a shadowy figure. A shadowy figure on a tube TV. I think this is a microphone. Staring back at you. Microphone and a camera with an eye. I just think it's wonderful. It's all very bizarre and hidden. This is how you imagine live streaming from the 1950s. Spooky. And historically right, and date accurate right, and it's all from the mind of a computer, if computers have minds. This is a late re-roll. 4 choices. You pick what you want to save and when in upscale, and others that you just want to get rid of. They all have different meanings and tones and textures. This, again, was my attempt at doing some abstract art influenced by pre-existing artwork. Yeah. I love it. All for sale on OpenSea, if I can ever get them back. Love the color, love the texture. They're like blocks of wood. I don't believe I asked for blocks of wood, but this is what I received in return. For variations, you pick what you want to fix, change, upscale, mute. Here's another version of a different sort of abstract art, and I just love it too. I think it's absolutely delicious. I love the faces in the art. In the abstraction, you can see the whole. Super duper delightful. These are the early iterations. You pick what you want to re-roll, what you want to expand, what you want to try to acknowledge. And here, this is me trying to come up with a crest and a hallmark for a university, using Columbia University as the inspiration. And this is what you get back. You bet. Well, it looks like it's a textured sewn patch. And thankfully, there's no writing on it, because usually the computer writing is just ridiculous. It just looks, old and Greekish and Roman, which I find beautifully delicious. And look at this thick texturing. It's fabulous. As you can see right here, the Boles brand logo for Discord is now one of these. And it was fun to pick and choose, finding your way home. So we've had a wonderful show today, talked about a lot of interesting things. I thank you so much for being here. If you are, in fact, looking to find me to give a comment, I invite you to contact me via email, david@boles.tv. On Twitter, it's at David Boles, and you can super follow. On Facebook, we're BOLES. Instagram, Boles Books. And we're putting our AI NFT art everywhere these days, so you can take a look at it. Let me know what you like, what you're looking for. And you can join our Discord server where you can use this AI bot that I've been showing you. You can go to our Discord server and find out more. It's all there waiting for you. If you have a question, you can find me and I'll help you. So I hope you have a great day, a good night, a wonderful nap, good meditation. And when you shall awaken, may your soul be filled with artificial joy and real circle closing in the most perfect way imaginable. Thank you. I'll see you soon.